Hi teacher, I'm Arlette and today I will talk about the porfiriato. Well, let's start. The porfiriato was a period of Porfirio Diaz's presidency of Mexico, an era of dictatorial rule accomplished through a combination of consequences and repression during which the country underwent extensive modernization but political liberties were limited and free press was musled. During his presidency, Benito Juarez gave Mexico its first experience of stable, good government since it won its independence from Spain in 1821. So there were those who accused him of being a dictator. Porfirio Diaz, a mestizo of humble origin and leading general during Mexico's war with the French, became disinterested with the rule of Juarez. Constitutional process were assiduously maintained in form. The Diaz regime held negated freedoms of the press through legislation that allowed government authorities to jail, which effectively operated as mouthpieces for the state. This made an increase of the powers and rules and intimidated the political opponents. As President Diaz adopted a policy of conciliation, endeavoring to end political conflicts and inviting the adherence of all important elements, including the church and the Latin aristocracy. He also began building a political machine because he had opposed the re-election of Tejada. Diaz stepped down as president after the end of his term, but not until he had engineered the election of Anali Jan. Diaz will continue to govern Mexico until 1911, the focus of a growing cult of personality. He was re-elected at the end of each term, usually without opposition. Well, let's talk about the history of Porfirio. The future president of Mexico was born in Oaxaca City on September 16, 1813, following the death of his father when he was a small child. Porfirio had to work as a carpenter's assistant but learned basic skills as well. Although he was admitted to a seminary, he joined the National Guard during the war with the United States but did not participate in the actual fighting. Well, in the 19th century, railroads were the symbol of economic progress, and every country wanted to have them. Although the first contracts to build trains in Mexico were signed in the 1813s, it wasn't until the 1817s that railroads finally ran from Mexico City to the major port of Veracruz. Railroad building was one of the most important goals of the Diaz administration, and by 1910 Mexico could boast 10,000 miles of track uniting the country, providing secure ways to get goods to market and enabling rural residents to leave them farm for city jobs. Diaz allowed public lands to be transferred to private ownerships at insignificant prices and without any limit upon the acreage that an individual might acquire. As a result, by 1910, most of the land in Mexico had become the property of a few thousand large landowners, and at least 95% of the rural population, like some 10 million people, were without land of their own. About 5,000 Indian communities, which had held land since before the Spanish conquest, were expropriated and their inhabitants mostly became laborers on the haciendas. In short, the Porfiriato was a period in which Mexico grew economically, but full of injustices, and the rich became richer and the poor poorer. Well, that was all, and I hope you enjoyed my explanation. See you later.